Where's Denise?
She went out to get some more minutes, so.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I thought she was here. Because we were missing page 2 of the agenda in our board packet.
Yeah, I wondered.
It was a test. It was a quiz.
It was a test.
I questioned it, but I'm like, am I just reading something? Yeah.
So since Darlene keeps our minutes and does the roll call, we need to wait for her to get that. Is this one?
It is. I poured that for you.
While we're at a standstill here, I'd like to welcome the CSD members here. This is nice to see. I hope this is a routine.
I was gonna say, is your arm twisted? Is that, okay, is there a duress that we need to know about?
That's why he's sitting behind us, so I can't just yell.
Nice, nice.
They may change. It would be nice. They could change by the time we never show up here again.
Oh, come on.
I got it.
Thank you.
All right, Darlene, are you ready? Yeah. Okay, you do a roll call? Here.
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 Both Cheryl and Sam are gone. Not present. But we have a quorum, so we will move forward. First item of business is a public comments. The public shall have the opportunity to directly address the board on any item of interest. Public comments on items not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of the board are welcome, subject to a reasonable time limitation for each speaker. If you wish to address the board at this time, please state your name and lot number and reserve your comments to no more than 3 minutes so that others will be allowed to speak. No action will be taken. Each item of business will be introduced by the president. Public comment for that item will be opened. The public will have an opportunity to speak on that item. Public comment for that item will then be closed, and no additional public comment will be allowed. At that time, the board will discuss the item and then take action. Do we have any public comments? If so, please step up to the podium. All right, seeing none, we'll close public comments. Consent calendar. Consent calendar items are considered routine and will be approved by a motion. There'll be no discussion of the item unless the director requests a specific item to be removed. Are there any items anybody wishes to be removed? Do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Second, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Approved. Next item of business are the minutes of January 17th, 2017 open session. I believe we have a revised minutes that were provided to us earlier. So do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do you have a second?
I'll second the motion to approve the minutes of the January 17th board meeting.
Okay. Any further discussion, comments, changes, deletions? All right, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. The next item of business is the president's report. Prior to the meeting tonight, we held an executive session where we discussed a couple of legal issues. And that's the end of that report. General Manager's report.
My first item is the Rancho Murieta Community Service District has inquired whether the RMA Board has an interest in meeting twice a year. The purpose of the meeting would be to foster better communications. Darlene's present tonight to answer any questions we might have. The first meeting would probably be the joint meeting between the RMA and the CSD when we do the go out and walk the trails. which we're planning on doing in March, and so that would be one of those meetings, maybe one additional meeting this year. These meetings will be open and fall under the Brown Act. And so Darlene's attending tonight. If you have any questions of her as to what you think topics might be or any questions you might have.
Yeah, sure. Darlene, do you mind going up to the podium so we have you on the microphone?
It's easier to shoot that way, or?
I have the buzzer, electrical
Okay,
buzzer.
all right.
Touch the podium. No, I guess what's the point? I mean, the basics, I guess, is it's driven by your board or
Right.
CSD. So what's their thought process behind
Their
it?
thought is just to have a couple of meetings a year where the two boards can get together, talk about common interest items, just trying to be more collaborative with the RMA during the year. As Greg said, they would have to be public meetings. We'd have to agendize them according to the Brown Act and follow everything by the Brown Act. But it's just a way for the two boards to get together and be able to share and discuss thoughts, ideas, concerns.
Darlene, I
But
think,
we can't do it unless we have for the full board to be there, unless it's an agendized public meeting.
I think this is an excellent idea. You've heard me suggest something similar to that before. I would like to see you guys, or this meeting, be more often than that, personally. I think twice a month, or once every 2 months, would be a really good place to start and see what happens. I also think you should include as many members as you can from each of the boards.
We would have to, Greg, wouldn't we have to agendize it as under the Davis-Sterling Act as well? So, I don't have a problem meeting with, I guess, I mean, we couldn't really take any action, it would just be to dialogue amongst each other, I guess.
Basically, yes.
So,
I think there's an awful lot of things we can share, a lot of internal discussion that we can share that is not necessarily restrictive for either one of us to, but just to be more informed as board members.
I guess if we agendize the item properly on the agenda as an action, each respective board could, it wouldn't be a joint action, but each respective board could take actions if they were agendized properly, so.
And Darlene, this isn't to replace any of the joint security or any of the other things? Okay.
No.
I don't think we even have joint security meetings, do we? I don't know. Theoretically, I'm on it, I haven't.
Well, I'm starting to see the problem, Mr.
Yeah.
President. I don't wanna, Darlene was gonna
now that you
mention
bring
it,
that
but I
up-
just saved her from saying it, but
I think now that you bring that up, we should have joint security
Yeah.
meetings.
So, yeah, I don't mind having meetings, but I
Right.
hate having meetings just for the sake of having meetings too, as long as we're accomplishing something.
Yeah, well, I think it comes back to the agenda items, because we do have to do it so far out in advance. I would probably say we work back through staff to grab some dates that kind of work on both sides, and we can at least start plugging those in, and if we have something great, if we don't, then we roll past it, but at least lock in the calendar now, you know what I mean? And just kind of figure what works on that every 2 months, quarterly basis, that.
What do you want the frequency to be?
Pardon me?
What do you want the frequency to be?
I think that board would get sick of us pretty early, because, I know how I feel about our board, so, I don't know. I don't know if it's every 2 months, Larry, maybe we start with that,
Or I thought a nice compromise. Larry said every 2 months. They said twice a year. I think quarterly sounds about right. If there's obviously if there's something that if it comes up a quarter and there's nothing to be discussed, we can bypass that quarter and at least have something on the calendar for the next quarter. I think quarterly is
Right, I agree with you totally. I just went to every 2 months knowing we were gonna have to compromise.
right. Immediate.
And then do you see committee work being done at these meetings?
From our perspective? Not that I can envision right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How about like other associations? Would they be invited to have their boards attend as well? I guess unruly. I guess where would we hold all this, down at the country club or here? For here or
No,
there?
she wants the party, so I'm thinking, hey, it's at their house.
19th hole, is that what we're getting at?
Yeah, it would probably have to be, if we wanted to have everything set up for all directors to sit at a table, it would probably have to be either in this room or at the country club, because our room is fixed, as far as the board table.
We set it for summer seniors.
Well, then the seating arrangements, that's the all-important consideration, as long as,
Yes.
Right.
you know.
Well, if the weather's nice, we can sit outside.
There you go, I'll sit in a circle and sing kumbaya.
Well, we can decide all that, but.
Yeah, I think if we have the times, we start that and then kind of put, yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, the first one is designed just to be our walk around the lake, that's the idea? Sometime in March when it stops raining and you can get out there without waders on. So, all right, sounds good to me,
Right.
you guys.
Is there anything for us? Come
No,
on,
I'm-
come on. Come on, it's just you and I, nobody, come on. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, my next item is a proposal for allowance of certain specific electric vehicles on the north side of the community. Director Shelton would like to put forth a proposal to the board which will allow electric bicycles, electrically motorized scooters, and motorized boards or hoverboards with engines of 750 watts or less. I've attached the pertinent CC&Rs and on-arc rules that currently apply to these types of vehicles. There's also sections from the California Vehicle Code and pictures of the different types of vehicles. My recommendation is that we forward this to governing docs because I think the big question here is whether we can do this through a rule change or if it will require a revision to the CC&Rs.
All right, you have anything to add, Larry, since it's your proposal?
No, I think we can address questions that the audience might have, but specifically Greg covered it in general, and I think it needs to go to governing docs first and then bounce from compliance back and forth until we see it again in September or something. It's a joke.
I was just trying to run the math and go, wow.
Greg, can I ask real quick, is there any added liability for us with these new vehicles potentially?
No, because currently we do allow them on the south.
Okay.
And so it would just be, they'd be on the north now instead of just the south.
To make sure you understand this, we're just trying to add non-gas driven small vehicles that are under 750 watts, such as Segways and electric assisted bicycles and some minor things to the north, which is now restricted.
Okay, any other questions?
No questions, we need a motion then to?
Make a motion out of order to
Somebody,
governing
you
docs.
wanna make a motion then to send it, is that your motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we make a request to governing docs to review the legal aspects of allowing some battery-powered motor vehicles in the north under 750 watts.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion on that, Mike? Only comment, we'll have a draft of the proposed rule for governing docs by the time we meet to discuss it. All right, any other discussion?
No, sir.
Nothing? Okay, all in favor to refer the proposed rule / CC&R change covering these electric vehicles to governing docs, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Passes, so it'll be forwarded to governing docs.
Okay, my last item is just an update on the Greens Park. The grading permit has been submitted to Sacramento County and should take 4 to 6 weeks to process. I did attach this middle checklist just so you guys can kind of get a feel for what the civil engineering, the landscape architects trying to put together in order to get the submittal forward. And this is only for the grading permit, but the engineer did say that as part of the grading permit, they will be checking our asphalt, our concrete, and the landscape plantings also. That's the end of my report.
Okay, great, thanks, Greg. Committee reports, Finance Committee, Charles not here, Colleen or anybody, no meeting? Okay, Architectural Review Committee, Mr. Summers isn't here, but Mark is here.
The ARC met on the 19th of January and February the 2nd and reviewed the following items. We discussed an appeal of a fine and a time extension for removal of some illegal improvements. We reviewed the new home, 2 swimming pools, variance for ornamental fence color, and also 2 driveway parking variances. Also have an additional item, like to recommend the approval of 4 existing common area leases with a change of ownership only for lots 159, 184, 301, and 1253.
All right,
Board's
just,
pleasure.
yeah. Do we have a motion from, I guess, a board member to approve those common area lease?
Also move.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve the existing common area leases for lots 159, 184, 301,
1253.
and 1253. Those all of them, Mark?
That's correct.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, passes unanimously.
And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mark. Next item is Communications Committee. Again, Cheryl, and she's not here, so you have something, Greg?
Yeah, the first item is Cheryl has asked that we try to put together a newsletter that would go out to the community 4 times a year approximately. It would be via an email blast, and if possible, we might put it on ranchomurieta.com so residents could view it there also. It'd be 1 to 4 pages long, and we just wanted to check in with the board before we started on this down this road to make sure you guys are comfortable with it.
Well, I think it's a good idea. I think, yeah.
And she did give us a template that she uses for her business that seems like it'd work fine for us, and so we don't have to worry about getting type of software program. There shouldn't be any cost associated with it.
Perfect.
Is there a way we can, maybe we're a little ahead of ourselves, but limit paper, the paper copies, if people are willing to get it by email or that?
Well, I mean, we don't plan on mailing it out, so, I mean, we might make, 30 or 40 copies and put it at the front desk, but otherwise, there'll be anybody that we've got their email, we'll send it through that email blast, and if Ralph will let us, we'll put it on .com, and people can go there and look at it also.
Okay. I'm willing to get up and start tweeting at 3 in the morning, I guess. And that sort of stuff.
Greg, kind of a little off the subject, but still in the form of communication. On .com, there is a calendar for RMA, and it's always empty. I keep looking at it thinking, for sure I'm going to find something beneficial on there. I was just wondering if there was a possibility we could utilize that.
Sure, I think we could, yeah. We at least put committee meetings and board meetings down on it.
Sure.
Yeah,
I
okay.
keep looking at the empty calendar thinking no news is good news. I don't know. I don't have to do it.
So Greg, the communications committee would go ahead and craft that letter on a,
It'll be a staff function.
okay.
I mean, I think Cheryl had some thoughts of, she'd like to do, maybe contribute to it also, but it should be staff-driven, and before we send it out, we'll send it out to the board to have a preview of it.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks. Anything else, Greg?
Then I also attached the Greenfield update, and so it's about 5 or 6 months worth of data, and it shows you, I think the important thing to me is just kind of tracking the subscriber counts for the TV and the internet. And you can see the TV's been fairly stagnant, but the internet has had pretty significant growth over the last 6 months. And so that's kind of the trend we expected, is that people would take advantage of the internet offering. And I mean, the TV is kind of a dying business.
Yeah, I'm kind of having, served on the communications committee as its chair for 4 years. I'm actually surprised that the TV hasn't gone down. I mean that it's actually staying static. I think that speaks well to Greenfield and the fiber and people liking what they're getting, because it had historically every month had gone down.
And also attach the call center report. So Brandon's going to report here in a minute, but as they wrap up their construction, and so I hope in 3 or 4 months we see a significant change in the call center and what those calls are about. And so I think this will be a good way for us to track what's going on with the system going forward.
Yeah, you know, the couple things that jump out at me are we have questions on the billing. I think we're always gonna have that, but from September to December, the outages, you know, high of 47, low of 5, so that speaks volumes. So thank you for that. And that's obviously the trend that we hoped. And, you know, just looking at some of the other numbers, the customer service is there. It just might be us users don't know the right question or who to get to. But you're seeing the system's reliability is where we wanted it to be. So that goes to you guys, so thank you.
So, all right, Brandon.
Well, since we're on this subject, Brendan with Greenfield Communications.
All of them? Well, okay, there's 3, and we can't get a hold of them, so I don't know what they
Pretty
are.
much. So where we're at right now is I have less than 50 legacy subscribers as of today that are on using the system. As of today, we shut down Node 1, rolled up all the temporary cables. That would be Puerto Fuente de Paz and a section of Guadalupe, Trinidad, Camino de Sol, Ventana. So as of tomorrow, we can now start putting that entire area back together. We have, like I said, less than 50 people still on it, which would be Node 2 and Node 4. And within the next 2 weeks, both of those are going to be shut down too, allowing us to put the entire.
Are the 50 people that are still on it, that you still have to get to them, or they haven't got a hold of you? Or you
I have
can't get a hold of them?
26 people scheduled to be installed and 50 people still using it. So, you know, multiple door hangers on their homes appear to not be effective, but when they come home and their TV and internet doesn't work, they always call in. So,
Yeah, I was gonna say, at some point, make a reasonable attempt.
yeah,
shut it
so
down.
regardless, what we're gonna do is we'll actively call them between now and then. And a lot of people, you know, just trying to fit it into their schedule is their issue. And so we're actually doing some later installs. In fact, I have some guys that just left just a few minutes ago. So we're trying to get people in after work, and also we're trying to stay away from Saturday installs, but if it comes down to the last few people, then that's what we're gonna have to do. So other than that, I don't have too much else to report besides.
Thank you.
Sounds good. I do have, since I got you as a captive person here, I have a technical question. It could just be me only, but
Yeah, what do you
but
got?
it's a telephone question, actually, which is interesting as I've gotten, and I don't know if it's happened to other people or not, but several, like the emergency services calls like every other day about flooding and evacuations and stuff, but it only comes in through my voicemail with the thing. It never rings at the house. I don't know if that's a Greenfield.
No, yeah,
deal,
I would actually
or
have to.
that's
I would
just
actually have to talk to our guys about that because and I don't know if it would be something where the local area network sets up I mean, if they're just set up to communicate that way, or I've actually never heard of it. So
Yeah,
but now
'cause I
I'm
know,
curious. Now
like,
I'm curious. So I'm actually
My mother-in-law's on
gonna inquire.
AT&T, and she gets the phone call, and I'm like, what phone call? And then I'll go look at my
Everyone, we
email,
all
like,
get the
yeah.
voicemail, so there's a reason, Bob.
That's perfect. So,
So-
other than that, do we have any other questions? Oh, one other thing is we're working right now. Some customers have called in and they've identified that some of the scheduling on our guide, the actual time is not the correct time. So if it says a show is supposed to start at 6, it actually comes on at 8. Not all of our channels, just a few of them. It only complicates things when you go to DVR a show and it's not on. So as of today, we sent out to Rovi, who makes our guide, to they must have us set up for an East Coast feed instead of a West Coast or something like that. And so,
And that's just on the base of the Greenfield.
it's just basic, and it would be with basic DVR. Yeah. So,
And can you talk, you have been burying some, I mean, you've been doing some underground work too, other than just doing installs and rolling up cable, haven't you?
rolling up cable? Yeah, we've been rolling up cable, and we've been setting a lot of different PEDs, and so what we're doing is, but as of today, when we shut off Node 1, we just went through and cut out everything, and so that's what I'm getting at. But yeah, we've actually been rolling up cables as certain streets get on. As of tomorrow, we're rolling up Rio Circle, so Rio Circle's probably has the most cable on it and the most people who haven't called in. And so their scheduled shut-off date was last Tuesday. I do have somebody set up for tomorrow, and as soon as he's on, then we'll be rolling that up and finishing up that street. So
If you wouldn't mind sticking around after the meeting,
That's
got a
fine, yeah.
little private thing I want to chat with you about.
You got it.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you.
All right, Compliance Committee. Are you in? Is that all you have with communications? Okay, Compliance Committee.
Compliance met on January 9th. We had a couple of appeals, if you will, some issues. If you look under consent to sign, or consent to fine, one name appears, and that issue is being addressed specifically, and actually, the chief of security has some concerns, and we tried to work through some process issues at compliance that we can work with him on meeting his needs. It's still at staff. We haven't been able to flush it out.
When you say meeting his need, meaning the new chief's
Yeah,
needs?
yeah, and his concerns for the individual and driving pattern and habits and stuff like that. So, other than that, that's all I have to report, other than if you flip to past the yellow page, not the yellow pages, the yellow page, speeding and stop signs are still the number 1 and 2 issues that we're addressing in the community. So, that's all I have.
I did notice there was some trash container violations that people came in and indicated, or it wasn't me, it was like my gardener or something, or gardener's like generally aware when the
Yes, and so
made aware, or
what it was is the gardener has a series of houses in a row, and it rained, so he didn't make it, and so all the trash cans are left out because he fills them, and he brings them down. Or the people bring them down, he fills them up, they take them back, and they've got it worked out. And so the weather, and so luckily one of the residents got a hold of Mike Robinson, the compliance officer, and that's how we figured out, okay, it was just, they were all planning on this one guy doing it, and he didn't show because of weather. So we took care of that.
okay, I just want to make sure that the gardener, whoever, was aware.
Right.
Other than, I don't know if we as like RMA make the gardeners that come in generally aware of those rules.
No, usually
or
it's between
just
the
owner
homeowner and the vendor. That's all I have.
All right, thanks, Tim. Governing docs did not meet. Maintenance Committee, Larry.
Just a quick note on governing docs. Could you invite me to your next meeting?
Yeah.
Thank you. Maintenance.
Well, it's an open meeting, so you're welcome to, probably have to extend an invitation.
It's on the .com calendar, just,
yeah.
just look there, you'll be fine, just stay
I've
with
been trying to go, that's what I've been finding missing. The maintenance committee met on February 6th, and the basic discussions that we had were not anything too dynamic. We didn't make a motion to bring to the board for anything, but Rod brought us up to date on a few things, like the progress on the fountains and on the Front Lake fountains and the Greens Park. So I'm going to turn it over to Rod for some comments, if you have them. If you just say, go on.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything to add other than happy to answer any questions that you have. But one of the things I guess if I was to speak to someone particular around the storm.
Rod, have the storms created any, I don't know, for lack of better, permanent damage to any of our facilities that we have to be concerned about going forward?
Well, we've, I tell you, we've really lucked out. I got called out on, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And out of all of those, the worst damage we have is the street light. That's, somebody's looking out, falling right between the house, and we got one fell over a car, the branch is kind of hovered over the top of the car. So we really looked out, and not much.
Is that street light one of the new ones or one of the old blue ones?
They didn't want to move these guys down.
So our insistence that we get all new ones isn't necessarily the best approach.
Well, I think the wooden one would have fallen the whole way. I don't think anything, this was a pretty substantial size trees. But it was less than
Kind of an added note to Rod's activities was he was able last week to temporarily install one of the new fountain pumps that's destined for the front lake. And I think we were both really impressed as to how well it functioned. It's unlike what we kind of expected this to be like. It doesn't have nozzles that allow the water to shoot up. It's just got an open pipe with a turbine blade in it. So there's going to be no cleaning, no maintenance. It just throws water in the air and a bunch of it.
And a fish, and, yeah.
And the
okay.
fish,
No,
yeah.
that's
Well,
fine.
Rod's got a pretty good screen system.
Oh,
on
okay,
it.
I figured he did, I was
And,
just saying.
But the interesting thing was we could just see the whole lake getting oxygen added to it. There were bubbles in an area as big as this room around the pond.
Good.
So this was Rod was duly impressed, and so was I. In fact, I suspect that we've already had some minor conversations about how we can utilize pumps similar to that in other areas that have problems.
Yeah, because we've got a couple of those places. Excellent.
Yeah.
I only have one follow-up for Rod in my notes going over this. Thank you, and thank your crew. You know, it's one of those, we're fortunate to have you, to have your crew, to have the access, to have all this stuff taken care of. Obviously, we're an island, we're on our own anyways, but to have those types of things taken care of right away, thank you.
Thank you. It's interesting, CC and already walked with these storms, have communicated and made sure that, everybody's facing so that's very good.
Yeah, so Darlene, be sure to thank CST staff on behalf of RMA. We appreciate
So they
all their
didn't,
efforts too, since we're all,
they didn't mind you putting the leaves in the storm drains? I mean, they're okay with that? I mean, I don't want to bring it up. Oh, okay. Just checking.
all right. Anything else, Larry?
No, but we got a comment.
Yeah, I want to say the same thing. Thank you both of you guys, CSD as well as RMA, for taking care of everything. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
That's it.
All right, thanks. Alex, or Parks Committee didn't meet, am I correct on that? Okay. So Alex, Recreation Committee.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. The 4th of July is right around the corner, believe it or not, and the Recreation Committee did meet on the 6th of February and discussed 4th of July activities and approved the fireworks contract. We're hoping there won't be as much of a delay this year with fireworks. The contract will go to the Finance Committee and to us here, the board, in March for final approval. The committee also discussed the 2017 calendar of events. We've got a busy schedule this year. The committee is also exploring an additional bus trip this year to the gardens, the Filali Gardens. And then the committees will be working with different nonprofit community groups who use RMA facilities to address their needs and our needs as well on that front. So that is what we covered on the,
And
excuse
there's
me,
a
the date was the 13th of March. I'm sorry, I looked at the wrong date, so we met on the 13th, so.
There's an activity, there's a calendar on .com you can use too.
There is a calendar. We have bingo night coming up here in March, so please, come on down.
Do we have a date? What day of March?
I don't have my calendar handy. I think it's the 31st.
Where's Denise, so we need her for the,
Is the 31st a Friday? I'm thinking it's the 31st, if that's a Friday.
okay. All right, well, bingo coming up, so be sure to look for bingo, always a
We
popular
got
name.
bus trips coming up for baseball games, all bunch of good stuff.
All right, that the end of your report, Alex?
That is the end of my report.
Okay. Correspondence. Next Board of Directors meeting will be March 21st at 6:30 PM here in the RMA building. With that, we're adjourned.